Insights from the transcript. Introduction. Have you ever felt like you were walking forward, but weren't sure if you were getting anywhere? Or maybe you started something new, like learning a new skill, and the first steps felt shaky, making you wonder if you were doing it right? In these moments, when we want to understand things better and know where to go, we often learn the most important lessons. These lessons don't always come from big speeches or classes. Sometimes they are part of everyday talks, quiet thoughts, or simple recordings. This book is here to help you find the hidden wisdom in these conversations. It will show you the main messages that can guide you and give you strength. At the center of this book is a special kind of text. Think of it like a picture of a conversation. These texts, even if they seem normal at first, show us something special. A real look at how people think, learn, and talk. They capture the small details, the pauses, and the real feelings that can be lost when things are made too perfect. Our goal is to do more than just read the words. We want to look deeper, understand the real meaning, and find the important lessons the speaker wanted to share. This book is made because we want to take these spoken ideas and turn them into useful lessons for you. This book has one main goal: to explore the main ideas in the text we will look at. What does this mean? It means we will look very closely, dig under the surface, and find the basic ideas that make up the message. We are going on a trip to discover not just what was said, but why it was said and what it really means. The main ideas are the strong points of the message, the ideas that come up again and again and give the text its shape and purpose. They are the important parts that make up what the speaker is trying to say. By understanding these main ideas, we can better understand the speaker's view and, more importantly, find ways to use these lessons in our own lives. This can help us when we are learning new things, looking for reasons to keep going, or just trying to understand the world around us a little better. To help us explore, we will focus on something we call a key idea. A key idea is an important idea that the speaker talks about a lot. It's a main message they want you to remember. Imagine listening to a song. The key idea is like the main tune, the part you sing later, the part that makes the song special. Or think of a recipe. The key idea is like the main food, like the chicken in chicken soup. Without it, the soup wouldn't be the same. These ideas are not just said once. They are part of the whole conversation, showing up many times and often with strong feeling. In the text we have looked at, several key ideas are very clear. For example, a main key idea is how important learning English is. The speaker talks about this many times, showing it's a goal or a journey for the listener. This is not a small point, it's a big part of what they are saying. Another strong key idea that appears is not giving up being strong. The idea of never giving up is not a small detail, it's a main message throughout the text, showing that strength and will needed to get past hard times, especially when learning something new. Lastly, the idea of practicing English comes up as an important key idea. This is not just mentioned briefly, it's shown as the practical way to reach the learning goal. It shows that hard work and always trying are important steps to success. By understanding these key ideas, we can understand the text's message much better and use its wisdom in our own lives. As we go on in this book, each part will build on what we've learned. We will look at each of these key ideas one by one, explaining what they mean and how they relate to your own journey. You will get useful ideas, find good ways to learn and grow, and hopefully, feel more motivated. Join us as we explore these important messages, one key idea at a time, and find the great knowledge hidden in the text. 1. Learning English Basics. Learning to speak English can seem like climbing a very big hill. It's okay to feel like it's a lot. But what we are reading tells us something helpful. Every big trip starts with one small step. For English, that first step is learning the easy parts. This means you don't need to know every single word or every single rule. It's about building a strong base. Think of it like learning to walk before you can run. What we're reading says this first part, even if it seems simple, is very, very important. This is where you start to understand and where you get the courage to keep going. The main idea we see again and again is how important these first steps are. A main idea is a look at the most important thoughts in what we read. Here, the most important thought is that learning the easy parts of English isn't a problem to get past, but the way to become good at speaking it. What we are reading suggests that focusing on these first parts, the basic pieces of the language, is the best way to start. This could mean learning words people use a lot, understanding very simple sentences, and getting used to how English sounds. Without these easy parts, trying to learn the hard parts would be like trying to build a house on soft sand. What we're reading gently guides us to this smart way of starting, telling us that working on these first pieces all the time will help you grow a lot. One of the strongest things we learn from what we're reading is how much you need to practice. It's not enough to just read about English. You have to use it. What we're reading shows that practice is what makes you learn. Imagine trying to learn to play music by only reading books about it. You wouldn't get very good, would you? It's the same with language. What we're reading says that practicing English means using it in ways that feel natural and easy. This could be listening to simple talks, trying to say words and phrases, or even just thinking in English when you can. Every time you try to use the language, even if it's just saying hello or thank you, you are making what you learn stronger. This constant, active use is what turns knowing something into being able to do it. What we're reading knows this might not always be easy, but it says that practicing all the time is the surest way to truly understand. It's the repeating, the trying, and the doing that really makes the language stick in your mind. More than just words and rules, what we're reading also shows how important your mindset is. Learning the easy parts of English isn't just about remembering words. It's about having a certain way of thinking about learning. What we're reading strongly says that not giving up is a very important part. There will be times you are confused, times when words don't make sense, or when saying them feels impossible. This is normal. What we're reading tells learners not to get sad about these hard parts, but to see them as things you can get past. It says that a strong mind, one that doesn't quit when things are hard, is as important as any book. This mental strength helps learners get through difficulties and keep moving forward. It's about believing you can get better even when it feels slow. This good attitude, along with steady work, creates a strong force that helps learners move ahead. What we're reading seems to know that how you feel about learning is as important as what you learn. When we look closely at what we're reading suggests about the easy parts of English for people just starting, a few main things come up. First, there's the importance of easy words. This means learning the words people use most often every day. Words for saying hello, for things you see, for simple actions. Think of words like hello, goodbye, yes, no, water, food, go, eat. These are the basic pieces for talking to others. What we're reading says that learning a group of these words gives you a good start for understanding and for being understood. Without these basic words, even the simplest sentence wouldn't mean anything. Second, what we're reading points to the need for simple sentence rules. This doesn't mean learning difficult ways to talk about time or very long sentences. Instead, it means understanding how basic sentences are built. For example, learning that in English, we often say I am happy or you go home. It's about seeing who is doing something, the action they are doing, and what the action is done to, in the most direct ways. What we're reading suggests that understanding these simple patterns helps learners start to make their own sentences and understand what others say. It's like learning basic shapes before you draw a big picture. Third, there's the part that's often missed: easy pronunciation. How words sound is a big part of understanding and being understood. What we're reading suggests that paying attention to how people who speak English as their first language say words and trying to copy them is very important. This could mean learning the sounds of single letters or common groups of letters. Even a small improvement in how you say words can make a big difference in how clearly people understand you and how easily you understand spoken English. What we're reading seems to value trying to say words correctly, even if it's not perfect. Finally, what we're reading highlights how important easy listening is. This means being able to understand simple English when you hear it. It's about getting your ears used to the flow and sounds of the language. What we're reading suggests that listening to English, even if you don't know every word, helps your brain get used to the language. This could mean listening to short, simple audio clips, songs, or even shows for kids. The more you listen, the better you get at picking out words and phrases you know, and the more comfortable you become with how spoken English sounds. What we're reading connects practicing English directly to learning and understanding. It's not just about hearing it, it's about actively using it. What we're reading says that practice is the bridge between knowing something and being able to use it. For example, if you learn the word apple, just seeing it on a list is not enough. Practicing might mean saying the word out loud, using it in a simple sentence like I eat an apple, or pointing to an apple and saying apple. These actions make the word easier to remember and help you understand when to use it. What we're reading suggests that the more you actively use the language, the better you understand it. It's like working out a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. What we're reading doesn't say you have to practice in specific ways, but it really supports the general idea of practicing all the time, hands-on. This could be by talking with others, writing simple sentences, or even just repeating phrases to yourself. The main message is that practice is the active thing that makes learning happen. Beyond the skills themselves, what we're reading reveals a lot about the mindset needed for someone learning the easy parts of English. It's not just about having a good memory or being good at languages. It's about having a certain attitude. One of the most important parts is patience. Learning a language takes time, and what we're reading seems to know that you might not always get better every day. There will be days when it feels like you're not improving at all. What we're reading quietly tells learners to be patient with themselves, to know that this is a process, and that every little bit of effort matters. Another important part of this mindset is curiosity. What we're reading suggests that a real interest in the language and the culture it comes from can be a strong reason to keep going. When you want to know why certain words are used, or how people say things, you are more likely to look for chances to learn. This curiosity makes you want to practice and explore. It turns learning from a hard job into an exciting trip. Also, what we're reading shows how important bravery is. It takes courage to speak a new language, especially when you are just starting. There's a fear of making mistakes, of sounding funny, or of not being understood. What we're reading seems to know this fear, but tells learners to be brave enough to try anyway. It suggests that making mistakes is not a sign of failing, but a normal and needed part of learning. Every mistake is a chance to learn and get better. Finally, what we're reading stresses regular effort. It's not about studying for many hours one day and then doing nothing for a week. It's about making small, regular efforts. Even 10 or 15 minutes of practice each day can be much better than studying for a long time. But not often. This steady work helps keep the language in your mind and builds strength over time. What we're reading knows that life can be busy, but it supports the idea that even small, regular steps are the best way to build a strong base in English. In short, what we're reading shows that learning English is something you can do, as long as you focus on the basic parts and have the right attitude. It's about accepting the start, knowing that practice is key, and always remembering how important it is to keep trying. Now that we've seen how important it is to start with the easy parts, and how important practice and a strong attitude are, we can look at how these first steps lead to real progress and learning more difficult things. 2. Building perseverance. Learning is like a long walk. Sometimes the path is easy, and sometimes it's hard. You might feel like you're not moving fast, or you don't know where to go. It's easy to want to stop, but there's a special strength that helps you keep going. It's called not giving up. The words we've been looking at show us how important this is. It helps us reach our goals, especially when learning something new, like a language. It's not just about being smart, it's about trying hard even when it's tough. The words keep saying one main thing: don't stop trying. This doesn't mean being foolishly stubborn. It means understanding that trying again and again is what helps us get past hard parts and overcome problems. Think about growing a garden. You won't see flowers right away. You have to water the plants, pull out weeds, and keep them safe. Doing these things every day is like not giving up. The words suggest that in learning, this means practicing over and over. When you find a difficult grammar rule or can't understand what someone says, you might feel upset and want to stop. But the main idea is that this is when you need to be strong the most. It's in these moments that deciding to keep going, to try a different way, or to look at things again with fresh eyes is what truly helps you learn. This strong will to keep going, to not let small problems stop you, is the base for real learning. This helps us understand something important. Practicing helps us get better, not perfect right away. The words don't promise you'll be an expert instantly. Instead, they say that practicing and doing it many times is what builds your knowledge and skills over time. Imagine learning to play music. At first, the sounds might be strange and it might not sound right. But every time you play again, something changes. Your fingers get better, you start to hear the music more, and the song starts to sound good. The words suggest that learning a language is similar. Every time you try to say a sentence, listen to someone, or read something, you are making your brain stronger, helping your mouth and mind remember and understanding more. This constant effort, even if you don't see big changes right away, is what changes confusion into understanding and shyness into speaking easily. The words mean that it's not just what you do in one practice time, but all the practice times put together that make a difference. Also, the words show how helpful small successes are. Learning is like a long race, not a short run. Thinking about speaking a new language perfectly can feel too big, especially when you're just starting. It's easy to feel sad if you only think about the end. But the words gently guide us to enjoy the journey. They say it's important to be happy about small wins, like learning a new word, using a grammar rule correctly, or understanding a short conversation. These small wins give you energy and remind you that you are making progress, even if it's slow. When you can say more words than before, or understand something that was once confusing, notice that. These are important steps. The words suggest that by seeing and valuing these small steps, you create a good feeling. Each small win makes you believe you can learn, which makes you want to keep trying. This cycle of trying in small wins is better and more encouraging than waiting for one big success. The words clearly show that trying hard and understanding go together. They say that the more you work with something, the more you truly understand its small details. This is not just about remembering facts or rules, it's about starting to feel the language. When you speak often, you start to understand not just the words, but how they sound, the feeling behind them, and the culture they come from. When you read a lot, you see different ways of writing and new words, which helps you understand how language can be used. The words suggest that this deeper understanding comes from working with it for a long time. It's like the language itself starts to share its secrets with people who are patient and try hard to learn them. This connection is strong. Trying hard in practice doesn't just make you better at doing things. It makes you understand the subject more deeply and completely. Let's look at an example that shows this journey. Imagine a student named Anya who wanted to learn English. She started with lots of energy but soon felt stuck. New words felt like a big wave, and grammar rules seemed confusing. Some days she felt like she wasn't learning anything. She would look at her book, the words blurring, and really wanted to quit. But Anya remembered something in the words that felt true. Trying is the lesson itself. She decided to change her focus. Instead of trying to be perfect, she decided to practice for just 30 minutes every day, no matter what. Some days, she would just read a chapter again, trying to understand one new sentence. Other days, she would try to write a few simple sentences about her day, even if they had mistakes. She started listening to short, easy English podcasts on her way to places, even if she only understood half of it. Slowly, almost without noticing, things started to change. A word she had seen many times before suddenly made sense. A grammar rule that always confused her started to make sense in a new way. One afternoon, while watching a movie with words on the screen, she realized she was understanding whole conversations without looking at the words all the time. It wasn't a sudden big change, but a slow unfolding. Anya's will to keep going, her steady, strong effort, was the key. She didn't give up when it was hard. She accepted the process, was happy about the small moments of understanding, and trusted that her constant practice would eventually lead to being good at it. Her story, like the ideas from the words, shows that building the strength to keep going isn't about being unafraid. It's about acting even when you are afraid, about continuing to move forward even when you're not sure of the way. The words show the idea of never giving up by often talking about trying for a long time and the value of always working on it. Phrases like keep trying, don't stop, and learn from mistakes are like rules to follow. These are not just words. They are a way of thinking that knows learning is hard and shows a way through it. The message is clear. Hard parts are not things to stop for, but chances to understand more and become stronger. The words don't say learning will be easy, but they strongly suggest it's always possible with the right thoughts and way of doing things. The act of looking at hard things again and working on them, like Anya did, is a direct example of this never give up spirit. It's about knowing that each try, even if it doesn't work right away, helps you learn overall. The connection between practicing often and being dedicated and doing well in learning, as the words suggest, is like a direct cause and effect. The words imply that dedication is not just wanting to succeed, it's actively choosing to do the work. This work, this constant practice, is what makes you move forward. Without it, even the strongest wish to learn will fade. The words suggest that when people are dedicated to practicing regularly, they are actively building the skills and knowledge needed to succeed. It's like building a house. You can't just wish for a finished house. You need to build the base, put up the walls, and add the roof piece by piece. Each day's work, no matter how small it seems, brings the building closer to being finished. In learning, each practice time, each moment of focused effort is a piece that adds to the final goal. The words highlight that this dedication helps not only with skills but also with a deeper, more solid understanding. It's this constant use that turns ideas about language into real abilities, leading to true skill. After looking at how important it is to keep going and how practicing often helps you get better, we now know that this dedication is the base for all learning. But how do we actively build this way of thinking and turn it into real actions? This leads us to think about the practical ways that can help us build and keep this important quality. 3. Practicing English daily. Learning English well, like learning anything important, takes steady work. The words we looked at again and again show us a simple truth. You get better by doing a little bit every day, not by doing a lot all at once. It's not just about spending time. It's about making English a part of your life. Learning should feel like a habit, not a chore. When we talk about a main idea in these words, we mean the most important thoughts. And the need to practice every day is definitely one of them. It shows us how doing small things every day leads to understanding and skill. Think of your brain like a garden. If you give your plants water only once a month, they might live, but they won't grow well. They will stay small and maybe look sad. But if you give them a little water every day, they grow strong, their roots go deep, and they bloom with bright colors. Practicing English every day works the same way. Each day you use the language. By listening to a song, reading a short story, learning a few new words, or trying to make a sentence, you are giving water to the seeds of language in your mind. This steady watering stops what you learn from being forgotten. It helps your brain remember new words, grammar rules, and how to say things. The strong message from the words is practice and stick with it. It means that the people who do best are not always the ones who are naturally gifted, but the ones who show up every day ready to learn and get better. This daily work builds a strong base, a solid way of understanding that can support harder language ideas as you learn more. Without this daily care, your English garden will only have a few small plants. Besides just remembering what you learn, practicing every day is the key to speaking and understanding English easily and naturally. When you only use English sometimes, every time you speak or write feels like hard work. You might stop for a long time to find the right word or find it hard to connect your thoughts. It's like driving a car that's hard to control. But practicing every day helps your brain and your mouth get used to how English flows. When you speak or write English each day, even for a few minutes, you train your ears to hear the sounds and rhythm of the language. Your tongue learns to make new sounds more easily. Your mind starts to guess how sentences will be built and what words often go together. This steady, daily use helps the language move from something you have to think about a lot to something that feels more natural. It's like the difference between carefully following a recipe every time you cook and eventually being able to make that dish without even thinking. The words encourage you by showing that the more you use English every day, the less it feels strange and the more it becomes a natural way to share your ideas. This daily use helps you hesitate less and feel more confident, letting your thoughts come out smoothly in English. One of the hardest parts of learning anything new, especially a language, is wanting to quit when things get difficult. We all have times when it feels like we're not making progress, when we keep making the same mistakes, or when there's just too much we don't know. The words talk a lot about the importance of not giving up, of having a never quit spirit. Practicing every day is the most real way to show this spirit. It's deciding to try each day, even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't see results right away. This steady effort teaches you that learning isn't a straight path up. There will be times when you feel stuck, and sometimes even times when you go backward. But by practicing every day, you make sure you don't get completely lost. It's like quietly fighting against feeling bad. Every day you choose to work on English, you show you are committed and prove to yourself that you can get through hard times. This builds strength. It teaches you to value the effort, not just the end result. The encouraging tone of the words is meant to help this inner drive. It reminds us that the hard work of daily practice is a strength in itself, showing your desire to learn and grow. This strength is what helps you overcome the problems that will surely come. Also, making English practice a part of your daily life can change it from a hard job to something you enjoy and can keep doing. When learning is only for set times that feel like homework, it can become boring and tiring. But when you find small chances to use English during your day, it feels less like work and more like a natural part of what you're already doing. Maybe you listen to an English podcast on your way to work, read a few news headlines in English with your morning coffee, or watch a short video in English before bed. These small, steady actions make learning feel less overwhelming. They are easy to do and are more likely to become habits. This way of learning helps you feel better about the language. Instead of dreading study time, you might start looking forward to these small moments of using English. The positive and hopeful feeling in the words is important here. It suggests that learning should be fun, and making practice a daily, enjoyable part of life is key to keeping that fun. When practice is something you can keep doing and even enjoy, you are much more likely to stick with it for a long time, leading to much better language learning. Now we can look more closely at how the words focus on practice and stick with it directly helps a learner's memory and understanding. The human brain is built to learn by repeating things and connecting them. When you learn a new word or grammar rule, it's not strong in your memory at first. Practicing every day gives you the repeated chances needed to make these connections in your brain stronger. For example, if you learn a new verb today, using it in a sentence tomorrow, hearing it in a song the next day, and reading it in an article a few days later greatly increases the chance that it will move from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. This steady reinforcing also helps with understanding. As you see an idea in different situations every day, you start to understand its small differences and how it works with the rest of the language. The main idea of the words is that this is not about cramming, it's about steady, constant building. Each day's effort is like a gentle reminder to your brain, making the information more solid. This is much better than studying hard only once in a while, which often leads to a shallow understanding that quickly disappears. When thinking about the specific ways to practice English, the words suggest that a balanced daily routine is most helpful. While speaking is often seen as the main goal, daily listening, reading, and writing all play important parts. Listening every day helps your ears get used to the natural sounds, how people's voices rise and fall, and how fast they speak, making it easier to understand. Reading every day shows you many different words and sentence styles in context, improving your understanding and giving you ideas for your own writing. Even short times of writing each day, like keeping a journal or writing simple emails, help make grammar and words stronger and train your brain to create language. The way these skills work together is powerful. For example, you might read a new word, then hear it on a podcast, and then try to use it in a conversation. This daily use in different ways makes learning complete and connected, not separate. The wisdom in the words points to this complete way of learning, where different kinds of practice help each other, creating a stronger and more flexible language skill. Keeping the encouraging and positive feeling from the words when facing the hard parts of daily practice is a skill itself, and one that daily practice helps you build. It starts with having realistic ideas. Knowing that progress isn't always a straight line is important. Some days will be easier than others, and that's normal. The positivity in the words isn't about ignoring problems. It's about building a way of thinking that can get past them. When you feel stuck, instead of feeling bad, you can see it as a sign that your brain is putting information together, getting ready for the next step. This is where the habit of daily practice becomes a source of strength. Even on days when you don't feel like you're learning much, the act of showing up is a success. You can celebrate these small wins. Maybe you understood a phrase today that you missed yesterday, or you managed to say a complex idea more clearly. These moments, no matter how small, give you energy to keep going. The message in the words encourages us to be kind to ourselves, to notice our efforts, and to focus on the long journey, not on being perfect right away. This gentle, steady way of learning, made stronger by daily use, is the best way to keep motivation high and maintain that important positive attitude. Now that we have clearly shown how important it is to make practicing English a daily habit, the next step is to give you the tools and ways to make this happen. The ideas from the words have shown why this consistency is so important for memory, fluency, and not giving up. Now, we need to think about the practical side. How can you fit this essential daily practice into a busy life, making sure it stays interesting and rewarding? We will look at useful methods and resources that turn the idea of daily practice into something real and possible. For your language learning journey. 4. Staying motivated. Learning a new language is like a winding road, not a straight path. Sometimes you make fast progress, and other times it feels like you're stuck in thick mud. During these hard times, your first excitement can fade, and you might wonder how to keep going. This is where motivation, that inner drive, becomes very important. The ideas from what we read show us how vital it is. Without this inner push, even the best plans can fail, leaving your goals unfinished. What we read tells us something very true about learning. Practicing often and working hard are not just helpful, they are the foundation for all progress. Think about building a strong house. You can have the best drawings and good materials, but if you stop building before it's done, it will never stand. In the same way, learning a language with short, intense efforts won't give lasting results. What we read reminds us that real progress comes from showing up every day, without fail, and working with the material. This isn't always exciting. It means studying words when you'd rather watch TV, practicing grammar when you're tired, or trying to speak even when you're afraid of making mistakes. But it's this steady, determined effort that turns a passing interest into a strong skill. This constant work, this refusal to give up when things get tough, is the key to truly learning and growing. This steady work is not just needed for success. It also creates its own motivation. When we keep doing something, we start to see the results, even if they seem small at first. Every new word you remember, every sentence you build correctly, every short conversation you understand, these are not just small wins. They are proof that your efforts are working. This proof helps fight doubt and frustration. It's like watching a plant grow. You don't see it happen overnight, but with water and sun, you see it grow steadily. In the same way, the results of daily practice build your confidence and make you believe you can reach your goal. This creates a good cycle. The more you practice, the better you get. The better you get, the more you want to practice. What we read highlights how the act of doing, of engaging with the learning, gives you new energy and a reason to keep going. Besides just practicing, finding real enjoyment in learning itself is a key part of staying motivated. Learning English or any new skill doesn't have to be hard work. It can be an adventure, a creative exploration, a way to discover new things and ideas. When we can make our study time enjoyable, the effort feels less like work and more like something rewarding. This could mean finding a podcast in English about something you love, watching a movie with subtitles, or reading a book that interests you. Maybe it's finding someone to practice with who likes the same things, making talking in the language a fun social activity. Even tasks like memorizing words can be more fun with games, flashcards, or memory tricks that add a playful element. What we read gently suggests that learning should also bring satisfaction. When we actively look for enjoyable parts of learning, we are not just gaining a skill, we are building a good relationship with the learning process itself, making it much easier to stay motivated for a long time. Celebrating these small successes, noticing how far you've come, also helps a lot. It's important to stop and see your progress, instead of only looking at how much more you have to do. This careful appreciation of what you've achieved fuels your desire to reach the next step. It's a fact that motivation isn't always strong, it goes up and down. There will be times when progress seems to stop, when the language feels impossible to understand, and when the effort feels too much. These moments, often called plateaus or times of frustration, are normal and expected. They are not signs of failure, but a natural part of learning. What we read gives us a strong message for these times. Just keep trying. This is not a weak suggestion, it's a strong stand against giving up. When you hit a plateau, the best way, as suggested by the main ideas, is to change your view and try a different approach. Instead of seeing the lack of progress as a reason to stop, see it as a chance to understand more deeply or explore new ways. This might mean going back to basic ideas, finding different learning materials, or finding new ways to use what you've learned. The main thing is to avoid the temptation to stop trying altogether. By understanding that these dips are temporary and by using ways to get through them, you build your strength and commitment. What we read silently encourages you to keep going, to stay dedicated even when the path is unclear, which is a deep lesson in how to keep working hard. It's about knowing that the biggest growth often happens just after you feel like giving up. Also, the spirit of involvement in what we read can be used as a powerful way to stay motivated. Think of it like a like, share, and subscribe approach to your learning. In today's world, these actions mean actively participating and being part of a group. For learning, this means actively looking for and using resources, sharing your experiences, and connecting with others on the same path. Instead of just taking in information, you become an active part of your own learning. This could mean joining online groups or study groups where learners can ask questions, share tips, and help each other. It might mean actively looking for new and different learning materials, articles, videos, practice exercises that keep learning fresh and interesting. Sharing your progress, even in small ways, can also be very motivating. Maybe you post a short video of yourself speaking, share a new phrase you've learned on social media, or just talk about your learning goals with friends and family. This act of sharing not only helps you understand better, but also opens you up to encouragement and support from your friends. What we read, in a broader sense, is a reminder that learning is often something done with others and involves interaction. By actively participating, by reaching out and connecting, you increase your own motivation and build a supportive system that helps you stay on track. This active involvement turns learning from something done alone into something shared and active, making it much more likely that you will stay motivated and committed to your goals. So, the main message from what we read is not just about how to learn English, but about the lasting spirit needed to become skilled. The focus on regular practice and dedication is the engine that drives progress, turning initial interest into a lasting skill. This practice, in turn, becomes a source of motivation as we see ourselves improve. Finding joy in the process turns learning from a task into a rewarding experience, making it easier to keep trying. Most importantly, what we read helps us understand that plateaus and frustration are not the end. but challenges to be overcome with new determination and different ways of learning. By taking an active, involved approach, a like, share, and subscribe attitude towards your learning, you create a supportive environment and build a deeper connection to the material. These connected parts work together, providing the strong structure needed to keep your motivation alive, even when the path ahead seems difficult. Keeping motivation strong is the engine that drives our learning. But what happens when that engine needs a little fixing? The next part will look at how to effectively deal with problems and get back on track, giving clear steps to recover from drops in motivation and return to the path of success. Conclusion: we are at the end of our book. It's a good time to think about what we learned. This book wanted to show you the main ideas from the words we read. We looked closely at the words and ideas. We found some important main ideas that stood out. These ideas are like lights showing us the best lessons in the words. They help us understand not just what was said, but why it is important for learning English. As we finish, let's remember the most important main ideas. A very strong message, said many times, was to never stop trying to learn English. This was not just a small suggestion, it was needed to do well. Learning a new language is like running a long race, not a short one. Some days will be very hard. Words might not come easily. You might feel like you are not getting better. The words strongly said that if you keep going through hard times, instead of stopping, you will truly get better. This main idea of not giving up is key to understanding how people can truly learn from what we read. It is about being strong inside, knowing that every hard thing you get through makes you stronger. Along with not giving up, the words said it is very important to practice English. The speaker made it very clear that you don't get good at English by just listening or reading one time. You get better by trying often. This main idea of practice means using the language a lot. It means speaking, writing, listening, and reading as much as you can. The words showed that the more you use English, the easier it becomes. Your mind will connect words and ideas more easily. You will get better at understanding long sentences. This main idea of practice shows that using the language is the best way to learn. Even a little practice, done often, can make a big difference over time. We also saw that the speaker was always kind and hopeful. This was on purpose. It was an important main idea itself. It changed how the learner felt and wanted to learn. When someone learns in a kind place, with kind words, it feels different. It feels less like work and more like an exciting game. The words in the book helped the learner feel like they could do it and that they should feel good. This main idea of hope, shown in the words, shows how the way things are said can greatly help someone learn. A hopeful mind makes it easier to face hard things, to keep practicing, and to do well. When we look at these main ideas together, not giving up, practicing, and being hopeful, they work very well together. They help each other to build a strong way to learn. Being hopeful makes it easier to keep going when things are hard. Practicing often builds your belief in yourself, which makes you feel more hopeful. And believing you can do well, by not giving up, makes you want to keep practicing. These main ideas that are connected are exactly what we wanted to show you. They are the main ways that make learning from things like our words so good. The words were not just a list of words. They showed these important ways to learn. By looking at them, we learn that the best way to learn anything is to try hard, to work at it often, and to believe in yourself. This is the main point of understanding any learning material. As you go on from this book, remember that what you learn from these words is not just for this one book. You now know how to find and use main ideas in any learning material you find. You have seen how not giving up, practicing, and being hopeful are your best helpers. Go and keep practicing, keep not giving up, and keep being hopeful. The world of English and any other learning is open for you. Our look at the main ideas and the words has hopefully given you a good way to see your own learning. May your learning be full of new things, getting better, and always believing you can do it.